Since March is Women's History Month, I thought this would be the perfect time to share books with you all about some of the amazing women, not only in our history, but in our present day as well. So I have 10 wonderful read aloud picture books to share the accomplishments of these amazing women with your students. So without further ado, let's jump right into those books. The first one is called Miss Moore Thought Otherwise. Now, this book is really neat, and I think your students will find it interesting. And I even learned something new. So way back when, children were not allowed to check out library books. They weren't even allowed in the library. Adults thought that they would ruin the books, or that they would not remember to bring the books back, or that reading just wasn't important, especially for girls. Well, luckily, Miss Moore thought otherwise. And this is the true story about how Miss Anne Carroll Moore created the first children's room at the New York City Public Library. She created a bright, warm room filled with children's artwork, window seats, and most importantly, the privilege to borrow books from the library and take them home. Miss Moore was an amazing woman and has made a difference for so many children throughout the world by allowing them simply to check out books from the library. A great read aloud to jumpstart Women's History Month. This next book that I have is a very simple picture book. This one is called Me, Jane. And this tells the story of Jane Goodall's childhood and her favorite toy, a chimpanzee named Jubilee. Now, this story just tells the beginnings of Jane Goodall's life, about her childhood and how she became interested in learning more about chimpanzees as she grew older. But the back matter gives more information about Jane's life and all the different ways that she's helped animals around the world. And there's even a note to the reader from Jane at the very end of the book. A great inspiration for any of your students who love animals. The next book that I have for Women's History Month is a beautiful picture book. This one is called Firebird, and it's written by the American Ballet Theater soloist Misty Copeland. And this book is not just for dancers, but for anyone who needs to hear a story of success and all the dedication and hard work that goes into becoming that success. This story shares Misty's background and how she rose to success, and that hard work, that dedication, again, that she needed to put in to become where she is today. The illustrations in this book are beautiful, and the color just comes off of the page and will inspire not only the dancers in your class, but other students as well. Another powerful book about an amazing woman. This next one I'm sure you've heard of, but it is Malala's Magic Pencil. In this story, Malala herself shares her inspiring story of growing up in a war-torn region, yet still seeing the magic of hope everywhere she looked. Malala makes a wish for a magical pencil, and with it, she would use it to make everyone happy. She would erase the smell of garbage from her city to help the kids around her. But as she grows up, Malala realizes that there are more important things to wish for. And even if she never found a magic pencil, Malala uses her words and works hard to make her wishes come true. An amazing story about a powerful young woman that will inspire not only the girls, but the boys in your class. And you've probably heard about the historic Apollo 13 moon landing, but do you know about the mathematical genius who made sure that the Apollo 13 returned home safely? In the book, Counting on Katherine, you'll learn all about this and more. You'll learn about Katherine's early beginnings as a gifted student, all the way to her heroic accomplishments as a prominent mathematician at NASA. It's the story about a groundbreaking woman who not only calculated the course of moon landings, but in turn saved lives and made amazing contributions to history. Another amazing woman to share with your students during Women's History Month. And I love this next book, and I'm pretty sure I've shared it somewhere on this channel before, but this one is called Shark Lady. At just 9 years old, Eugenie Clark developed an unexpected passion for sharks after visiting an aquarium in New York City. And at that time, sharks were seen as these mindless, killing creatures, but Eugenie Clark knew there was more, and she was set out to prove it. And even though Eugenie faced many obstacles in her path, she was another woman who worked hard and dedicated herself to learning as much as she could about sharks. So from her many discoveries of the shark myths that she dispelled, her wide scientific contributions gave her the name Shark Lady. A really interesting book to read aloud in your classroom. This next one might seem kind of silly, but it's an important one that hasn't made a huge effect on our lives, especially women's lives today. This one is called You Forgot Your Skirt, Amelia Bloomer. This is a great story to teach kids about how important it is to be an individual and not to conform to the thoughts that everybody else has, but to think for yourself, even if it might be different than what we know. So this story gives a small glimpse into the life of Amelia Bloomer, who she was, and the role that she played in history. It's the early 1800s, but Amelia Bloomer is ahead of her time. All the women are wearing dresses and skirts, but she doesn't want to, and she's kind of considered not a proper lady. But we come to learn how she created the bloomers, or what we now think of today as pants, and how she changed people's thinking, and now women are able to wear what they want, whereas in her time that was unheard of. An important story about being your own independent thinker. The next book that I have for Women's History Month is called Molly by Golly. In this story, we learn about Molly Williams, an African-American cook for the New York Fire Department. And she is considered to be the first known female firefighter in the US. One winter day in 1818, when many of the volunteer firefighters are sick with the flu, a small wooden house catches fire. Molly jumps into action and puts out the fire and earns herself a volunteer position on the New York Fire Department. And another inspiring story about a powerful young woman to share with your students. The next book that I have is not about a specific woman, but rather a collection of powerful women in our history as well as our present day that can inspire young children, both boys and girls. This one is called Standing on Her Shoulders. It's a celebration of the strong women who influence us. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters, our aunts, and all the women who have fought for equality and acceptance in the United States. This lyrical text really encourages young kids to learn about these powerful women who led the way, who created this path for their own lives, and empowers them to become role models themselves. And the remarkable art in this book showcases a loving intergenerational family and encourages girls and boys to find female heroes in their own lives. Standing on Her Shoulders will inspire kids of all ages to follow in the footsteps of these amazing women. And the last book that I have to celebrate Women's History Month is Maya Lin, Artist Architect of Light and Lines. As a child, Maya Lin loved to study the spaces around her. She explored the forest in her backyard, observing woodland creatures, and used her own house as a model to design tiny homes out of scraps of paper. So from her first experiments with light and lines to the height of her success nationwide, we learn about Maya Lin, the visionary artist-architect who designed the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Another inspiring woman to share with your students. So I hope that you'll be able to share some of these books with your class, either during Women's History Month in March or at any point during the year. These are wonderful picture books to encourage students, to teach them about history and about the amazing women who have come before them and who are role models for them. And all of these books I will leave linked in the description box below so that you can grab them either from your library or local bookstore to share with your class. So thank you for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for next week because I will have a huge collection of brand new books that came out in the month of March. And I know I teased you with that a few months ago because I've been working on this list for a while and there are some awesome books to share. So make sure you come back next Sunday night to see all of the brand new books that came out this month. Have a great week.